Residents are keeping their boxing gloves on in this fight against the infamous Christopher Hubbard. The director says members should be free to meet or assemble to clean up the mess that Mother Nature left from last week's storm. This entire campground has been hit by one natural disaster to another. That white Honda Civic came flying out of nowhere, running right into them, flipping the entire car upside down. Now, the family placed a stick inside the windowsill as a security measure. But unless this stick is precisely cut to fit inside your windowsill, then intruders will get in. But it appears the ex-soccer coach doesn't want to play ball. Deputies say Valenti refused to get on the bus to come into court for the beating death of his girlfriend's 2-year-old precious daughter, found sleeping underneath a parked vehicle wrapped in a blanket. Detectives say they're looking to put a stop to this blood sport here in the AV. The person was killed by a train. The body is still lying on the tracks. The train is stopped. You can't see it from here, but we can't get any closer. You can see investigators and detectives are on the scene to find out exactly what happened here.
Just bring that shirt up and see a bruise or cut, and then that's it. You know, take the kid and find out what's going on. My son, my grandson. He suffered.
In Jesus' name, we need justice for Gabriel!
Emotions are running high outside the Palmdale Sheriff's Station, where many are outraged and disappointed that deputies didn't save 8-year-old Gabriel Fernandez's life. This young boy with a beautiful smile was brutally beaten to death last week. Deputies say the attacker was his mother's boyfriend. The child's teacher is having a hard time understanding why Gabriel was killed when there were signs everywhere illustrating that Gabriel was living a nightmare.
He said that she shot him in the face with a BB gun. He had circular dots all over his face. There was times she would cut his hair in these weird shapes and send him to school for humiliation.
With evidence so clear, many are baffled that the abuse was never stopped.
And I don't even know what was under his clothes. I couldn't go there, but just from what I could see on his face, it was bad.
The young child's skull was fractured when first responders picked him up from his home Wednesday night. Gabriel was barely breathing and suffered several broken ribs and had burns and torture marks found all over his body and private parts.
Slowly but surely, he came up to me when he felt comfortable and he said, "Is it normal for your mommy to hit you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." And then he said, "Well, what about, you know that part on the end, that metal part?" And he didn't know the term. With that pokey thing, and I was like, "Yeah, the buckle." And he said, "She hits me with that part and it bleeds." And so that's when I called. That was my first report, and that was in October.
You know, he's supposed to be protected by Department of Children and Family Services, and right now my wife and I are in the process of adopting our nephew, and so it just, you know, makes me sad inside, you know, to know that that, you know, he's gone through this. Unfortunately, somebody, you know, ignored his cries for help.
The law needs to be changed!
Deputies visited the child's home on several occasions, but their investigation never led to Gabriel's removal.
We're looking into how those were handled, see if they were adequately investigated at the time.
Impatiently waiting for authorities to save the young child's life, his teacher started to become desperate and even considered taking justice into her own hands by kidnapping her student. Now she wishes she'd taken that chance.
And I think it's a dream. And I think I'm going to wake up, and I'm going to go to school, and it's going to be over.
We love Gabriel!
Reporting in Palmdale, I'm Jordan Taylor for Time Warner Cable News. Renoir Valenti will likely spend the rest of his life in prison for sexually abusing more than a dozen young boys here in the AV. But before I get to his sentencing, let me first tell you about his appearance. For the first time, we saw Valenti walk into the courtroom without his neck brace or in a wheelchair. You know, prosecutors accused the former soccer coach of throwing himself down an escalator and other delay tactics to stop this trial from moving forward. But as of Friday, the games are all over for Valenti. He will spend more than 120 years in prison, and the victims inside the courtroom today got the opportunity to look their abuser in his eyes and tell them just how badly he impacted their lives forever.
You literally ruined my life. I have to go to counseling every week because of you. I have to deal with trying to deal with if I want to have kids or not.
I believe I will find peace when you have lived out your punishment. And for that, I'll pray for your survival.
And when the time came for Valenti to respond to his victims, he used that opportunity to condemn the criminal justice system instead of showing remorse.
My trial in this courtroom was no less than a travesty of justice.
Is this a statement about a victim impact statement or a statement of remorse?
But Judge Davian Mitchell quickly called foul play and refused to let Valenti disrespect his victims any longer.
I cannot make a statement.
You're not entitled to, actually. No. I will hear it if you want to address the victims. This is not an opportunity for you to make a speech and make a mockery of what these people have suffered and endured and of this justice system. You will not be permitted to do that in this courtroom.
Although Valenti denies being a pedophile, his sister told the courtroom something went wrong with her brother in his 20s, and in tears, she apologized to the victims and their families.
I'm very, very sorry, and I can't give you guys like anything. I'm going to lose my brother again forever, so I'm so sorry.
But it's game over for the former soccer coach. Judge Mitchell says no more children will be hurt by Valenti.
I think this is the day that these boys will be set free, and this is what they're talking about, because they know in their minds you will never harm them, and you will never harm another child.
Although the trial is over, one father says the trail of horror continues for the young children Valenti molested for more than 2 decades. Out of all the competitive schools in Southern California, football fans say they wanted to see this game. 2 old rivals are going head-to-head as the Palmdale Falcons take on the AV Lopes. And you know what? Time Warner Cable is here to broadcast it just for you. So stay tuned.
Antelope Valley High School.
It was lights, camera, action at Antelope Valley High School Friday night as Time Warner Cable crews were on the scene broadcasting the winning game of the week. Viewer votes put these 2 teams on TV in HD. The undefeatable Falcons are relying on consistency to gain another win. What are some of the strengths that your team has that's making you such an outstanding team?
Well, I think this time of year we've kind of brought it all together. Our offense and defense are working really well for us, and we've had some consistency in our lineups, and I think that's been the key, is just having consistent play from our players every game for the last 5 years.
And the Lopes have had a rocky season, but rookie head coach Ron Wilson is keeping his cool about his team going up against the Falcons and its star running back, Demario Richard. What did you do to get your boys prepared for this game tonight?
We just turn the intensity up every week, every day, every second. So, I mean, this is nothing out of the norm for us. It's kind of how we are all the times. I mean, any big game, whether a team is, undefeated or they haven't won a game, we try to come in with the same intensity.
Yes, intensity was definitely in the atmosphere as the 2 rival teams entered the field. You can catch the entire game from kickoff to the final seconds of the game Friday at midnight and again at 9 a.m. on Saturday and 8 p.m. on Sunday on Time Warner Cable Channel 101 and in HD on Channel 354. Once again, we thank you for voting in Lancaster from Friday Night Lights. I'm Jordan Taylor for Time Warner Cable.